This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Good morning, everyone. This is a joint meeting between the Southampton Housing Authority and Massachusetts Housing Partnership, and it is working on a grant to provide affordable housing trust to Southampton. So I will turn it over to Emma to lead the meeting and the agenda. Thanks.
Great. Good morning, everyone. So I thought we would kick off today with just some feedback and impressions from the Municipal Affordable Housing Trust 101 session that Shelley led, last 2 weeks ago at this point. The 8th? Yeah. So any thoughts or impressions from that?
I guess I was happy with the amount of people from the COA board that came to the meeting. I thought it was, well, they must fear me. No, no, they were we talked about it at our meeting. It really came up. I think that helped. I was disappointed with the lack of from the, and the select board for that matter, the number of people from the select board that, and we had the zoning board, but nobody from planning, nobody from finance. So I was disappointed about that.
Virginia was there for.
Oh, and with community preservation. Thank you, Joy. Yes. So we had good some good support from those groups.
Yeah.
How many from the select board were there?
Actually, 3.
Yeah, there's 3. Yeah, no, there was me, Chris, and
Renee.
Yeah,
and Francine.
And Francine. Yeah, actually, so it was the majority of the select board. Yeah.
Good.
And Maureen had a lot of good questions. Rainey had really good questions. She was very engaged, so that was good. But yeah, no one from finance. And then I tried to go find the video because it was recorded, right?
Yeah. Has it not been posted yet? I
tried finding it and I could not find it because I was going to send it to the finance committee.
Where do we find recordings? Are they on East Hampton Media's website or are they on the Southampton website?
I always just go to their YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. How recently have you checked? Because maybe they're just
this morning. I checked this morning. Yeah.
I will not go check again.
Yeah.
So I'll send Judy a message to see where we are because I know Jim had a concern as well about that. So.
Okay.
So how did you feel overall with just kind of the tenor and how are you feeling moving forward?
I felt like people were supportive. Like there was a lot of questions. It's a new thing. And, a lot of valid concerns that we've discussed too about like who's going to be in control of this money, or like who are the trustees going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where is it coming from? How does it relate with I'm sorry. In my head, I keep saying care and protection. It's not care and protection. It is the community preservation. Okay. Committee, utilizing those funds. I think there wasn't a lot of negative feedback. It was just a lot of interest and good questions and just wanting to know really what it was about. Not like we don't want affordable housing in Southampton. It's going to reduce our property values.
Really? And it was awesome having Shelley as like the expert resource for people like our good friend Todd, who has been trying to like find ways to create affordable housing. And he had questions that I think only Shelley could have answered. So I think it was really nice to have just a forum for people to ask their burning questions.
Was he a developer? Is he?
No, he's a mortgage. He owns a mortgage company.
A mortgage company. Okay.
But he wanted to develop that one spot out on
College Highway.
Okay. Yeah. So he was part of that conversation. That's awesome. I'm really happy that, he showed up because those are the type of people that we need involved in making these projects happen.
Yeah. And I think he should be on the board of the housing authority. I mean, not the
trust.
All of our brains are a little bit.
And I think that
your CPC chair was very supportive, which was a really, really good, very good sign. That's a good thing.
And I think we would have had people from open space there because there's always that, open space versus affordable housing. But there was a big Kestrel presentation. And so a lot of people went to that instead of coming to this. So
that's right. And we know we have two very strong supporters in Cindy Palmer and Dan LaValle who couldn't attend, but they're all about it. Dan was like, can I start donating to it yet? I'm like, doesn't
yet. and they're both from the planning board at the moment. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just to tuck it in your cap, we have many examples of communities that have a site that there's some affordable housing and then there's some preserved open space where they do both things in the same area. So if you ever need those kind of examples, we don't want those groups to be competitive. We want this to be.
Yeah. And I think Jim has had some conversations. He's attended meetings for open space to engage them in our process as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But it does sound like, I just kind of have a question, that rental seems to be more of the way to go than ownership. Is that the impression that I'm getting from the state? It seems to be more supportive of programs that are rental based.
Or that it's easier to get funding for them?
Yeah, so that's definitely been the case, that rental has been more supported. There's been more funding sources and for different reasons, but it's definitely easier.
Okay.
Can a housing trust be the landlord for a home or like own the home and rent it out?
So we don't suggest that because it's a volunteer board, and to manage affordable housing as a volunteer board is really difficult. And we really suggest that you have some expertise to do that. So we don't suggest it. And the couple of trusts that have, one on the Cape has been trying to offload their housing units. They bought smaller scale 1 and 2 family houses because one thing that trusts don't oftentimes think about is the ongoing capital improvements needed. And when you're just not bringing in enough income, so you need to have, it's continual kind of subsidy. And when it's a entity that has more of a, they just have more units in their portfolio, then they can oftentimes combine them to refinance and then take out cash to help with capital improvements. But when it's a really small entity that doesn't have very many units, it becomes very expensive per unit.
And I think Hilltown CDC has worked with communities in this area in Goshen and in West Hampton to put in affordable housing, and they manage it.
You have a variety of different nonprofits that do housing right in your area. So, you have Valley CDC, you have Wayfinders. Like there are a variety that do housing development that are nonprofits as well, if that feels more comfortable. So trust doesn't need to consider, we certainly would not suggest being the developer. It makes everything very expensive. It's really hard.
So Wayfinders would work with a community. I mean, I know we have 40 units from Wayfinders in our community today. And so they would work with us collectively to do that versus I guess I think of Hilltown and Valley. I never thought of Wayfinders as doing that. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, you might have preferences, just different personality, style, all that, but they do that as well.
Okay.
You just want to be careful of procurement issues. Like you don't want to just reach out to one and then just try to find a site just with them or offer them a site, just them. Like you want to be cautious that
RFPs and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. But they absolutely could respond to an RFP just as well as Valley and Hilltown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Like they might have, some might want a certain size, like some might be less inclined to consider a 15 or 20 unit development versus others. Some might want 40 units or just a bigger size. It might just be how their vision or how they operate. So there might be those dynamics. Anyway, so Emma, what were we going to move into next?
Oops, I'm muted. if there were any more takeaways from reviewing existing local bylaws and ordinances. I think we've talked about this a few times. And what? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know. Somebody started to say something, but I don't know who. So keep going.
Oh, it looks like Shelley maybe cut out.
Oh,
She's frozen.
Oh no.
she's locked up here. Yeah.
Did we go over next steps based on discussion? Do we need to do next steps?
Based on this discussion?
Based on discussion of the MHT 101.
That's what's on the agenda anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reviewing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Shelley was leading into with the question that she just asked about how you feel about everything moving forward. I really want to have her with us for this discussion.
Can you text her? Oh, there. I was just going to ask her.
She'll come back.
Again. Okay, good.
Okay.
That would be good. So yeah, we never, well, yeah, that's later down on FinCom and.
Yeah.
And it was because it was just before the town meeting, we didn't get to the FinCon meeting. So, and Joy was out of town and.
Okay.
So,
We'll get
So
them.
that's still pending.
still pending, yes. I just couldn't get there and it was.
Yeah.
And then there was a conversation with the select board. They were there at the May 101. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm remembering correctly, one of the things that we talked about last time was if there was anything they were looking for, information or things that they need to give kind of like a green light. Was that part of the conversation that you had with them at all?
At that meeting, no, but during our select board meeting, yes. So there's an next step that we need to take for select board for sure. But I don't know if you wanted to go back to reviewing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to make a note of this and we'll come back.
Bylaws.
Sorry, my internet must have gotten unstable and it kicked me off.
Yeah.
No worries. So Shelley, I think you kind of started the conversation of next steps based on the 101 session. Was there maybe more specifics we want to go into on that piece?
Just the question of are we ready? Do we move forward? What's the next steps? How do we, who else has kind of permission, or is there anything formal that needs to happen in Southampton for us to perhaps create a subcommittee to start writing a bylaw?
No, that's our next step for select board is they are looking for us to create a charge for the subcommittee to do the bylaw. They would like to have a draft for the next meeting whenever we can do that.
And then do you have, how would you imagine creating that subcommittee or task force, whatever you would call it?
They've created many committees before. I've never drafted a charge before for any of them. So I was going to just ask our chairperson, because she's done it many times, to send me a draft of what she did for the last, I don't know, we've done 2 committees actually. Never mind. We've done 2 committees in the past. Like we did the ad hoc committee for the public safety building and the ad hoc committee for, but those are, yeah. I mean, those that were, yeah, they're not the same. They're quite, they're like a whole other level, but I can go base off that and just kind of send it and out and see what people say, get takeaways one by people rather than discuss in a group unless we want another meeting to discuss and then hand it over to select board.
And is this something that's like 1 paragraph or is
a 1-pager? Definitely a 1-pager.
Maybe a little bit more, kind of defines the size of the committee, some basics.
We try to keep it 1 page because they do end up getting posted. So Yeah.
Okay. So do you want this group right here to suggest some parameters right now?
Yeah, that would be great.
All right. So who knows how to write a bylaw? Let's get one of those on the team.
Okay, yeah, but
So how many people do you think?
I know in the when we did the feasibility committee for the senior center, we defined how many people, any ex officios, kind of defined the background that we'd like to see on it. As far as, I mean, do we make it up of other in-town committee members and at-large members? Because that can take a while just to put this committee together. So, but especially over the summer.
Well, do you think anyone on the bylaw advisory board would, like just one person who would be on that? I feel like they should have some tie-in.
So the charge of this committee is to create a bylaw. Is that what we're defining as the committee?
But if you're saying it takes a long time, Janet, that's could be problematic because we don't have a lot of time.
Right. And I guess I shouldn't define a lot of time. I mean, if we all reach out and recruit and define, so.
I don't think it has to be a lot of people. I think with the planning board, or not the planning board, the public safety and the senior center, those boards are huge and they're big projects.
No.
I think that this is just, it can be 3 to 5 people, someone from select board, housing authority, and bylaw review committee, or anyone else who's interested at this point, because I want people who are interested.
So I think that 3 is good to limit it like that. I was going to say 4 to 6, but 3 to 5 is even simpler because this is not the final. This is just draft that others can review. So you don't have everybody's opinion right up front. You just need a few people that can get something on paper.
Yeah.
So do you want to say select a couple of people specific or board specific, just so that you have that coverage and then allow?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the select board will have the final say about the who's on it. But I think just giving them the at least 3 people from different boards, then they can add and take away as they wish.
Okay. So say select board. Are you saying housing authority?
Yeah.
Maybe one person from housing, one person from bylaw, if that, I mean, they would just review it
Yeah, they just make sure the language looks right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if they need to be on because they might not care about the issue.
So if they weren't on it, we would just present it to them after it's done and they would say.
So
yeah, and then they would
do just like an open seat then.
Okay.
Or do we need somebody from zoning or not? Or planning? No.
I don't think you need it. No.
Okay. So we could have an open seat with somebody with a background of, we can sort of help define, like a Todd, if that's who Sierra was thinking, or.
So what if you say 3 to 5, including a rep from the select board and the housing authority, and then the select board ultimately can make the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I don't think in a charge you want to put specific names. You just want to put representative words.
Right.
Is there any way to specify, probably the answer is no. Is there any way to specify people who have time and move quickly? Probably not. Maybe in the conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I think we should just leave it an open seat.
Okay.
Because the people that care are going to be like, okay. And if we say this is like a time sensitive in the charge, maybe just say this is time sensitive. We need people who are ready, willing, Southampton residents want to take this on. And then we have select board, housing authority. I think that, people that care and that can get it done.
I think in the charge, it needs to be explicit that the idea is that this be on the warrant for the fall, which means that a draft, I think you probably should put a deadline for a draft, don't you think? So people know upfront.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then it's going to probably go to town council before it goes to becomes an article as well.
Right. So it has to go to the bylaw committee. It has to go to town council. So you need some time. So at this point, do you have an idea of when articles need to be submitted?
There's no date yet for the fall, is there, Joy?
No.
So what's the earliest it could possibly be? October?
Mid-October, probably.
Mid-October. So let's pretend it's mid-October and then go back from there.
So does that mean that articles are going to have to be as early as August? It could be September.
September. I think that they have to have, we have to have articles approved. We, the select board, have to have articles approved at least, they have to be posted 7 days before.
Okay.
2 days before?
No. I was thinking 2 weeks for a review and approval.
Yeah, but they need to be posted, finalized 7 days before, I believe.
So what if we say that this is something that needs to be done in 30 days? Does that seem doable if we give 30 days? Because this looks like we may need it by the middle of August to be safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's say 30 days, August 15th.
Yeah, so if we can get, if you guys can get the charge written and people appointed by the middle of July, and then to give them until like August 15th or August 20th, just 30 days. Does that feel like it's possible?
Yeah.
August 12th is 2 weeks into, like roughly 2 weeks. It's the second Friday. The 20th is a Saturday. The 19th would be the following Friday.
Let's call it the 12th just to give ourselves emergency wiggle room.
I think that's a good idea.
Running on, oh wait, you said August? You were looking at August, Emma?
Are we looking at August?
Yeah.
Okay.
August.
Okay. So, okay, so this needs to start happening rapidly because it's the 4th of July coming up. So,
Yeah, I need to have this. Our next meeting is July 5th.
what if in the charge it says something like 30 days, deadline is within 30 days, no later than August?
August 12th, if we get it done by because next week's, there's a select board meeting and then the next one would be the 19th, right? So, right, Joy?
Yeah.
I'm just gauging there wasn't one this week for the first time in 100 years.
I know. I honestly think.
Well, Tuesday night.
So if this has to go more formally through the select board, then this rapid pace probably won't be possible with July 4th, right?
Yeah. Most likely it's not going to be presented next Tuesday. Honestly. I mean, I think that's
because that's the 5th. So that's not going to happen probably.
Unless, Joy, you think you can get to Chris and get something done. But I mean, this is a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I have a wedding this weekend. Usually I do my town stuff on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So is it realistic that it won't go before the select board likely until the 12th?
They meet every
our select board meeting is the 19th, so it would have to be the 5th.
It's every 2 weeks. It's not every week.
Well, it's only Wednesday today. Joy, I've never written a charge before, but is there anything I can do to help you write it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you what the other charges are, but I don't think it's going to be as complicated.
Yeah.
So Joy, why don't
we have a lot of the parameters decided already? We just have to put it in.
Yeah. How about if Sierra and I can do it, so it's not like a meeting thing, it'll get done.
And then run it by Chris just for her thoughts. I think she'll be happy to.
And I'll just email them right now and ask them to put it on the agenda for the 5th. And we will get it to them as soon as we can.
And I am vaguely around this weekend. So if there's any final stuff that I need to do the weekend, I can do it.
And if you want to include me in that, I'm happy to support Sierra if Joy, we'll get it done. You don't have to, but feel free.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay, good. So we're going to try for the select board meeting on
July 5th.
July 5th. To then hope for 30 days to get it done by August 12th. Optimistically.
So we just need to make sure that we have, why is tomorrow crazy? That we have, select board member, I can, their housing authority, I'm sure one of you guys will do it. And then just an open seat. We just need to know, I already have in mind, if no one's going to join, I will just ask Dan or someone who does want it, who does care about it. And so I think that we'll get that filled up real quick.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if Chris was on it, because she's so effective at getting shit done. So time for that.
Yeah, so I'll ask her if she wants to be on the bylaw on the.
Chris is the chair of the select board.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Joy, if you want to send me a draft of what a charge looks like, or if anyone can, I could even just take the first crack at it and then send it to you for additions. Do you think that would be a good way to do it?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm literally booked hour by hour today, so I'm not going to be able to get done. Let me find one right now.
Okay, great.
That's awesome.
And I'll make sure to email them about it, Chris about it too.
Great.
Okay. Reminder, send your committee assignments.
So Joy, while you're doing that, is that all the information that you need? Everything we've talked about? Is there anything else that you'd like notes on or brainstorming?
I'm looking at a draft right now.
Okay,
I think the purpose that we have is to design housing trust. That's easy. Membership, 2 to 5. I think we need a date by applications must be received by.
Applications for what?
This is the senior center one. To be on the committee, you had to apply.
Okay. So date that appointments must be made, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if we really want to have people. I don't think a bunch of people are going to be applying.
Right.
No.
So if we know the 3 or 4 people that you want on it. If it's 3 to 5 people, then, you can get volunteer forms in and out within next week,
Volunteer forms due by.
So each person needs to do a volunteer form, even if we're already on the government?
If you're creating a sort of like a subcommittee or an ad hoc committee to write this, which is what I think you're asking for, right? To create
Yeah.
a charge. And then the people with the charge will create the charge. So to write the charge, it's a kind of a informal ad hoc committee.
Okay.
Yeah. So can
break the bylaws
or less.
Sarah can get drafts and then take a first stab at some of this language, given all the conversations we've had the last couple months.
Yeah, I don't know if the grant committee, do you have any of the earlier ones, Joy? Any of
the grant committee? I don't, because I was not on the select board when I was.
I know public safety and the senior center are huge things that,
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's another committee that was created recently.
You have the tech committee.
I could ask Chris for the ad hoc grant committee charge.
Yeah, I don't have anything that was prior to.
Or the tech committee too, because those are 2.
Oh, the tech committee. I wonder if Dave knows that. One of my besties is on the tech committee, so I might be able to get that quickly from him. But I don't know if he was involved in the charge.
Or I think Dan is on it too, so he might have been. I don't know who was involved in creating the charge either. It might have been Chris.
Oh, how often does this committee need to meet? Probably weekly.
I would say so.
Or, I mean, we can leave it up to them, but it has to be done in 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, if they get it done in 2 weeks, great. But it's, I think 30 days that they need to figure it out.
So the purpose of this is to write a charge. That's the purpose of the committee, right? So
No, to write the bylaw.
to write the bylaw.
To
Okay.
establish a municipal affordable housing trust.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know
I just
too
wanted
much about like the difference between subcommittees and ad hoc, to be honest. Like, is this really just something that needs to be done by like an informal subcommittee, or do we really need like an ad hoc committee? Because the timeline is 30 days.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to. I would ask Chris that just to be safe, Joy, but
Yeah.
we need to go through a formal process and just come up.
I'll ask Chris and Ed. I'll send an email and be like, I need some clarification. Although Ed is away this week, and I will ask Chris.
Either way, would we need a charge for it?
If we do, then we'll be prepared for it. But I'll ask her today, and I'll send you what I have. And if we need it, then we'll be ready. If not, then we don't need it. And I wasted everyone's time. And I apologize.
Yeah, maybe we're making.
I really because when I explained it to the board, it wasn't like this. I was like, this needs to happen fast, but no one was like, maybe, well, let's see what we're talking about here. Exactly. What is this subcommittee going to be? And I just need to know really what are the parameters? Is it really an ad hoc? Let's make a charge, because
Or just the work group.
we're not dealing with money. It's literally drafting a bylaw. So I will ask. But
So if you
either
need
way.
that information, you have it. For
I'm
the
sorry, what was
charge.
that?
If you need the information for the charge, you have it.
Yes.
So I will not make any moves until tomorrow once I've heard. I don't have time today anyway. So
Yeah.
I'll wait for tomorrow and see what happens.
So if this is a group to create a bylaw, then that's probably has to be done by, the bylaw has to be done by mid-August. Is that what we're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm confusing committees on committees on committees. So sorry.
Okay. So
Okay.
it'll be done quickly. So hopefully you'll have a response by the end of today or tomorrow, Joy, right?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Okay.
Great. The next thing I had was takeaways from reviewing existing local bylaws and ordinances. I saw there were some notes from our last meeting about other bylaws that you all might look into. So I didn't know if there was anything that came up that you wanted to talk about, that you had questions about or caught your attention.
So now at this point, since we're talking about a small, I think that it's more just transferring some of the thoughts to that group to continue ultimately decide what.
And we shared a couple bylaws. So if I think just remodeling one of the bylaws that currently exist to fit our needs is certainly makes it smoother and faster, right? So
Yep. So ultimately this subcommittee is now going to decide what resonates for Southampton and what doesn't.
Shelley, I think right when you cut out, we kind of jumped down a little bit to talk about number 4, which was FinCom and Select Board and what they would need for a green light. And it sounds like still pending a meeting with FinCom. And then we were about to talk about next steps. Joy, I think you had some things you were going to share about what they were looking for a green light.
For FinCom?
No, it sounded like you hadn't met with FinCom.
No, they are the ghost board of Southampton.
Okay. So then it was the Select Board, I think, that you were about
and I didn't, that's where we got the whole let's come up with a charge thing in the committee where they're ready to help us proceed and move forward with that. So
and that's the only thing that they
No, they're supportive. They want to see what the bylaw is going to look like. And I think the majority of the board is supportive.
Okay.
The FineCom, they met on June 1st when I was on a plane. So, and I didn't realize it because they posted it May 27th, like a few days before.
Do they have their next meeting posted?
No. So and I've emailed and I've messaged. So my next go-to after I send this email is I'm going to text Becky, who was just voted on it, and see, because they should have come up with next dates at their last meeting. Mm-hmm. And see if they have anything planned for the summer. That's my concern, is they probably are on recess for the summer, as like the CPA is. Sometimes.
We could convince them to have a little emergency meeting to chat with us, right? Maybe.
I'll try. I don't know if I have the wrong email. I haven't even gotten one response of being like, hey, got your email, got it. Nothing. So I don't know if I just need to start. I don't have individual emails for people. So.
Well, I know I sent Vicki an email, and I sent, I think, Tracy an email for our 101. So I can send you Vicki's email if that helps.
Yeah, I just have like the FineCom email.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'll probably text Becky after this meeting and ask them what their next dates for their meetings are. But I know they would be I know Becky would be super supportive, and I don't know about Vicky or Donna.
So you already have Becky's email. So maybe she can forward it to Vicky then, so it goes through channels or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like we have next steps, right? And I don't think that there was anything else on the agenda, was there, Emma?
No, that was the last thing. Yeah.
Just our next meeting, if we schedule next meeting for this group or not.
So I think that
so after the 15th.
Yeah, I think that the next things are to determine whether this group gets up and running, and then our work will probably continue when they're getting to the point of completing the bylaw, and then how are we going to support getting it through the different channels to get it on the warrant.
Okay, so like early mid-August.
Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, during that time. But I guess the most emergency is what is going to be the process in the next week. So if hopefully Joy hears back soon, and then Joy and Sierra, you're going to take the lead on the charge, right?
We will take charge of
The
charge, right? If the charge is necessary.
Yeah, we had a subcommittee for the Council on Aging before we formed a charge. And it was a subcommittee of COA board members and a local business owner. And we didn't have to have a charge. We were just an informal, we never had a quorum from any one committee. So, maybe he can have a subcommittee to create a bylaw without having
I think
a formal process.
That would be better. That would be better.
What we can do.
So is that something that potentially Chris could just say, just do a subcommittee and it doesn't need to go to the select board?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is it potentially something where Chris could just say, create a subcommittee to write the bylaw and it doesn't need to go before the select board?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking her, because I'm just saying, this really needs to be a quick thing, and it can be informal. I don't know. She needs to.
And if we don't need a charge, how do we get people on the committee? We just email them and say, hey, you want to be on the committee?
Yeah, I would ask Chris to be on the committee, and then someone from Housing Authority, and then I would just ask Dan Lavalley. He cares.
Okay.
Or anyone else who cares? Who else?
Well, if you just do a subcommittee to create a bylaw, and then that would have to go, we're not having a long-term committee here. So
yeah.
Okay. So the goal
is we're not dealing with any money. It's not like the feasibility and the public safety,
Right. So let's say the goal is that the committee is together starting by July 12th to complete by August 12th.
Yes.
So Sierra, can you be on the bylaw writing part of that, or you were just doing?
I can definitely be on it. I'm just like, okay, so we're going to be working with bylaw templates, because if we don't have someone from the bylaw committee on there, how do we know how to write a bylaw? I
would look for something from another town. And then, if Chris is interested in formally being on it. I definitely want someone on it who has written a bylaw before for Southampton. Yeah. Hopefully Chris wants to do it. Putting all our money on her. Yeah. She's got a lot of free time. Right. Was that sarcastic? But maybe she's just really good at that. So, we want to get it done. We wanted to get it to legal by the middle of August to get it to Ed to probably review, select board review, then get it to legal and get it back by early September if possible, which is, the issue is if it needs to go to legal, it sometimes takes time.
It shouldn't take too much time though, if it's going to be part of the article reviews, because they review all the articles too.
Right.
So.
Okay.
I think that we've done what we need to be doing today, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll wait to schedule a next meeting until we know about how things are moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it might be the subcommittee scheduling.
Okay.
They need to get on it and schedule.
Let's see how the subcommittee does, how they work.
Yeah.
Great.
How quickly they work. Okay.
They will.
Great.
It's good to have short timelines. If you're like, I got to get this done in 30 days, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done.
Easy peasy. We got this.
All right. Thank you guys. If it is a whole thing, then I'll email you everything. Okay.
So is there a formal way that we need to end these meetings now?
Yeah, we take a vote to adjourn from the Housing Authority. Sierra?
Moved.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, Sierra?
Simmons, aye.
Piper, aye.
Kane, aye. Okay. So
all right.
We are formally at 9:45 a.m.
Right. Thank you all for your amazing expertise.
If you need someone.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.